What is up, everybody? Going to be going live right now for the next hour, answering all sit start suggestions, all that stuff, and the CMC injury, and keeping my phone open as we speak so I can see all the news and stuff like that. But again, looking forward to all of it. Looking forward to the questions we're going to have. I have the questions pulled up on my phone. I know we've been getting a lot of comments. Not a great day for picks yesterday, but you know what? It is what it is. We move. We keep doing the research. We keep going. And yeah, I'll be live on YouTube, X, and TikTok right now. So if you guys have any questions about any of that, let me know. And I will be discussing the Christian McCaffrey injury as well. What's going on, Emil? How you doing? But yeah, start Najee tonight. I would not. I would sit Najee. Najee Harris is just so it's tough because there's the upside of a touchdown, right? Because he is a goal line type of back. But Hampton on paper looks like a sit, but I think he gets 80% of the touches. And all he needs to do is get into the end zone. I'm starting Hampton if that makes any of you guys feel better about that. People have said sit Hampton. That's the sexy pick is sit all the Chargers except McConkey. I would probably start two Chargers. I would start only Ladd and Omarion. I wouldn't start Najee. I wouldn't start Justin Herbert tonight. I mean, Herbert's last three games combined against the Chargers were miserable, especially the last two 10 fantasy points, 13 fantasy points. Tough to trust him tonight. Thoughts on A.J. Brown? I'm not going to say I told people so, but there's a reason why A.J. Brown's not on any of my fantasy teams and why I have him in my rankings on my draft guide in the 40s, 30s or 40s, because I think it was actually in the 30s. I don't think I was that low on him. He's only been a top 12 receiver 3 of the past 12 games. That's a horrible percentage for a true wide receiver 1. And this new OC did not get him involved at all. And I know they won. Like, look, winning is all that matters for them. They don't care about fantasy football. I get that. But at the end of the day, I just don't. This whole offense is going to be cryptocurrency in the passing game. I mean, there's a reason why I didn't draft Devontae Smith. It has nothing to do with his talent. It's just some games he'll score 0 or 4 like last night. Some games he'll score 100. There are guys that I think are going to be like Devontae Smith pluses, like kind of like cryptocurrency, but a little more consistent volume. And I think George Pickens is one of them. I was impressed with George Pickens last night. I thought they should have gotten him the ball more. Obviously, CD had all those drops, and Dak didn't get the fantasy points we expected him to get. But Pickens looked good. He hauled in the 3 catches that he had, right? He drew a couple of penalties. Quinion couldn't even guard him. He was just cooking him the entire game when they threw to him, especially when they were on one-on-one coverage. But yeah, be discussing, of course, sit-start suggestions for tonight, about this weekend, all that stuff, the Christian McCaffrey injury, which I am very concerned about. I don't care what he says until we see him on the field Sunday, see what he is at full strength. I don't care. This is like the same storybook as last year. Clay says, go LSU. Yeah, dude, LSU's defense proved me wrong. I just think Cade Klubnik had a horrible game. I'm not as impressed with LSU as other people. I was very disappointed in Clemson. I mean, anybody could have won that game the way Clemson played. Now, maybe I was undervaluing their defense a little bit, but Nussmeier didn't look amazing. That was a great touchdown pass that he threw, and the other one, which should have been a touchdown. But at the end of the day, they're a good team. I still think they lose. I mean, they have Brian Kelly as their coach, so they're probably going to lose 3 games, 3 or 4 still. I mean, he's a choker whenever there's a big game. I was shocked he won a week 1 game, truly. Emeka or Tetairoa McMillan this week? I would go Tetairoa McMillan. Yeah. I think McMillan, the plethora of targets, easy matchup, all of that stuff. Let's see. Golden, Olave, Hollywood, Myers, pick 2. I'd go Golden. Oh, God. Golden on Olave, probably. Just hope he does well. I don't like the other 3. Myers requested a trade, but Myers, we don't know what his outlook is going to be against the Patriots. Gonzalez is out, though, so maybe Myers. I would go Myers and Golden. Olave's dangerous. 1 concussion, his career and season is over. But it's also like he's the only guy out there besides Kamara that can actually play football. So, again, should you scoop up Julie? Who should you scoop up? Sorry, I didn't see the rest of the comment. McConkey or JSN, just like I like the JSN matchup, but I think JSN's going to cook the Niners, honestly. And I'm a Niners fan saying that. I think that if there's one guy that's going to go off for Seattle, it's either going to be Ken Walker or JSN or both. I don't think anybody else has a good game on the Seahawks side, especially on offense. So I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people think. Robert Saleh is going to come in and try to do a good job. But remember, the Niners don't have much depth. Their defensive line has suffered some injuries. So, yeah. How many points do you think Pacheco is going to give to me tonight? It's not a solid start. I consider him a start, but I don't think he's a solid start. I would say probably 12 to 15 fantasy points. I think he gets probably 3 or 4 catches. If he gets a touchdown, that's all that matters. This is going to be an ugly game on the ground. Both defensive lines are pretty good. I still love Amari and Hampton, honestly. Perhaps it's a stupid decision if we look at the metrics of the Chiefs, but they gave up, 15 games. They gave up, I believe, 8+ fantasy points to running back. So I mean, it's possible for Hampton, who's seen as the RB1. The only way Amari and Hampton is a sit is if Najee steals the goal line touches, which I don't think are going to happen. But you could say the same thing about Pacheco with Kareem Hunt. I mean, there's a lot of projections, which is why last night Jalen Carter gets hurt, and I suck on all my projections. Javonte Williams doesn't go off unless Jalen Carter gets hurt last night. It's a completely different ball game. Schottenheimer even said that changed the game. We ran the ball more because of that after the game. I would pick up Jaden Blue, by the way, guys, as well. Dante Thornton. Okay, Julie. Yeah. Who are you trying to drop? Jaden Reed? Nah, it's a tough one. I would keep an eye on Thornton. I think he's special. Jaden Reed is still going to get a substantial target share. That's a really good player to be dropping for a guy like Thornton until we see it, because there's still Bowers, there's still Jacoby Myers, and then there's also, Genty out of the backfield, who's an underrated pass catcher, in my personal opinion. Jerome Ford, Ricky Pearsall, DJ Moore. I personally would start Jerome Ford and Ricky Pearsall. Jerome Ford might be the safest start in all of fantasy football this week. I mean, he's going up against an atrocious Bengals defense. He's the true workhorse back. They'll use Sampson a little bit. The only downside is, are the Browns down this entire game, and how early are they down in the game? Well, Ford proved to be a decent pass catcher last season and the year before. He had a couple of big games. So I think Ford is a lock-it-in start. Pearsall is an easy start. I mean, he's the only guy that's going to be targeted besides Kittle, maybe, McCaffrey if he plays. And Jennings, who knows if he's 100%, but he expects to play Sunday. Who knows if they'll even utilize him much, since he just got back to practice. Ladd or Kyron full PPR. You got to go Kyron Williams. I mean, this is a Ladd, I think, is going to have a really good game. I would start both personally. Texans D-line's pretty good. Chiefs defense won't be able to cover Ladd, but it is a really good defense. They're not going to play a lot of man coverage. I mean, they do a good job, the Chargers, moving Ladd around. I think both are starts. I'd lean Kyron, though, because, you get a running back with guaranteed touches and probably a touchdown if they get into the red zone, which is very likely. Versus Ladd, you're just hoping he gets 5 or 6 catches and a touchdown, or 5 and 6 catches in general. Do you start Hampton or Kamara? Kamara by a mile over Hampton this week. And I love Amarion tonight. I just don't think he's going to get more than like 12, 13, 14 fantasy points. To me, that's a start. I'd rather have the 12, 13, 14 guy than what we had yesterday. With everybody, like I had Pickens on one of my teams, 6 fantasy points, right? Like didn't get many targets. Like I'd prefer the running back that I know is going to get 80% of the carries. And then all of a sudden, maybe it's a touchdown or something like that. Hampton, by the way, is a good pass catcher. I would not be shocked if there's a few checkdowns going his way tonight. Ford or Odunze, you got to start Ford. Odunze I love, but I sat Odunze in a league where I have a bunch of good players. And it's because, DJ Moore is there. I want to see it. They're playing a great defense in Minnesota. I think, who has one of the best rosters in the entire NFL. So for me, it's like, I don't know. It's tough for me to trust Rome until we see him. Like, do I expect Rome to have a 15 fantasy point night? Yes, I do. I think he gets the touchdown if it's any of the receivers, but it's risky. If you're willing to take the risk in week 1, I want to see Ben Johnson's offense in a real game, firstly, and what they use and how they utilize Rome and what they do with Caleb and that run game with DeAndre Swift, before I can start Rome Odunze over a player like Jerome Ford, who we know is one of the easiest starts of the week. He's got an easy matchup. He's a workhorse running back because, Judkins, that whole situation's there. I mean, Samson will get a little bit of the touches, but not much. Should you trade for Bill? I think Bill's a good buy low guy. I mean, I wouldn't trade a lot. Like, I would try and flip a guy like Jayden Reed for him, or your last guy on your bench, and see if they like bait for that. But yeah. Let's see. Tracy Golden Flowers. I would go. Well, Tracy is an excellent matchup. I would go Tyrone Tracy. I mean, especially with the Scatterboo stuff, been a little banged up. Commanders were 27th ranked run defense last season, which is why I don't think they're going to be a good team this year. I don't think they improved at all on that defensive line. Javon Kinlaw's a certified bum. Trust me, he was a Niner. Another bust of a first-round pick from the 49ers and Javon Kinlaw. That's not going to save the Commanders' defense. And I think there's tape now on Jayden Daniels. That's not to say Daniels is going to slump. I think he has a pretty good year, but I think if there's a team that's bound for regression, it's probably them in the NFC or the Lions. TreVeyon or Hampton week 1. See, that's a tough one because Ramondre is considered the RB1, right? And this is the same situation with J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey, right? Hampton is guaranteed RB1 status, guaranteed to get touches tonight. Brutal matchup, though. Henderson, easy matchup. All he needs is a few catches and a few carries, and all of a sudden he could have 45 yards, a touchdown, and 34 yards receiving, 3 catches, and 15 fantasy points. I think the upside is way higher with Henderson. I think the floor is way higher with Amari and Hampton. To answer your question, I'd probably lean TreVeyon Henderson, but it's close. It's close. Only because the Chiefs are such a formidable opponent, especially on the defensive line. And by the way, I'm not confident about the Amari and Hampton start. The reason why I make these videos for these singular games, and it's eventually going to be just Monday, Thursday when we have Thursday and Monday games. And then the big ones are coming out tomorrow about Sunday, where I'll give you like the Ricky Pearsall, Tedero McMillan starts, and then the sits of Calvin Ridley going up against Pat Surtain and like all that stuff. I'm not as confident about the sit start videos when it comes to singular games because a lot can go wrong. And we saw that last night. But you know what? I'm going to stand on business. I'm not going to delete that video. I got a lot wrong last night. The projections did not favor Javonte Williams having a good game. What happens? Jalen Carter kicked out of the game. All of a sudden, Javonte Williams goes off. And by the way, Javonte Williams only had 3.6 yards per carry. So that's a sell high candidate if I've ever seen one. And Miles Sanders fumbled. I would try and get Jaden Blue if I was there. Bro, one-off game. Good, bro. Head up. Hey, 30, by the way, bro. I don't know your real name, but I appreciate your support. It's crazy. I got over 1,000 hate comments this morning. I'm not going to lie. I was a little depressed. I know there's a lot of hate in this industry, right? Like I could say the sky is blue. People are going to hate. Like I get that. That's fine. Whatever. That's kind of the business we're in. If we're giving advice on something, we're going to get cooked, whether we're right or wrong. And when you're right, people don't usually tell you. They just kind of expect you to be right. And when you're wrong, we're all human. That's what happens. One-off game. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. Singular games are harder to predict in terms of sit-start suggestions. The running backs tonight are not safe options by any means. However, I'd lean starting both your 5th-round pick or 6th-round pick in Isaiah Pacheco and your 3rd or 4th-round pick in Amari and Hampton because the volume will be there. And volume is still king in fantasy football. Let's see. Caleb Williams or Justin Herbert week 1. Caleb, man, I would go Caleb Williams. I think there's a little more rushing upside there. Justin Herbert could have a good game tonight, but if we're looking at pure metrics, Herbert has had 10 fantasy points and 13 fantasy points the last 2 times he's played Kansas City. If we look at just last year, Caleb Williams' fantasy points, and I can pull this up, Caleb Williams game log against Minnesota. And now he is a better coach. So this was with a bad coach. I think he played better against them than Herbert did. Now let's see. National Football League. We go into that 2024 season. Let's see what he did against the Minnesota Vikings. Okay. He had a 340-yard passing game, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So that's like 25 fantasy points to 30 fantasy points. And then the second time, he had a touchdown, no interceptions, a few rushing yards, 191 yards. I would lean Caleb Williams even against Brian Flores' defense. I would, 100%. Let's see. We got Harvey or Pacheco. This one's hard. I'd probably lean RJ Harvey. Pacheco has a not a great matchup tonight, though I do lean starting him tonight. I don't have him in any teams. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it's not the end of the world if you don't start him or start him. Remember, this is a singular game. If you have somebody else better than Pacheco, like an RJ Harvey, a Trevion Henderson, let's say a Tetero McMillan or Ricky Pearsall that you can put in at flex, I would prefer that for sure. I'm not super confident that Pacheco gets over 12 fantasy points. I'm pretty confident he gets 12 to 15, nothing more than 15, though. I'd be shocked. And bro, it kind of broke my heart seeing you get all those hates. I believe in you, bro. I appreciate it, bro. It's like that's the business. It's like I kind of attribute it to this. Now, again, professional athletes is a whole different level. But let's say Kobe Bryant is RIP Kobe, right? Let's say he was 7 out of 40 from the floor. And the next game he scores 81 points. That's the business, bro. I mean, most people would delete the video and move on. I'm always going to leave my videos up. If I'm wrong, I will accept it. I'm right about a lot. I can be wrong sometimes, you know? That's life. And again, I always tell you guys, I'm giving you the starts and sits based on projections, based on defensive value. And remember, it'll get more accurate as the season goes on because then we'll get legitimate defensive metrics. These are all projections right now. It's easier to have sit start suggestions when we're in week 8 and we know Minnesota's ranked second against the run, right? Oh, you're sitting the running back. You don't care, right? Now it's a little harder. And because we don't really know tonight, Chargers lost an interior defensive lineman. Who knows? Maybe Pacheco gets 100 yards rushing. You know what I mean? I don't think that's going to happen, but it's a possibility we have to consider because it's early on in the season and there's just not a lot of projections right now. So at the end of the day, I don't feel super confident about Pacheco and Hampton, but I would start them. Lean start. Herbert or Lawrence. Okay, we can look at this. Carolina's defense may improve a little bit, but Trevor Lawrence is an easy start this week. It's an easy matchup. He's got BTJ and Travis Hunter healthy. He's got Brennan Strange, who I like as a flex or a tight end. If you need to stream a tight end, I like Brennan Strange against Carolina this week. I think that's a great matchup for him. Herbert has a brutal matchup tonight. Even if Herbert balls out, I'm standing on business. I do not think he is going to have an excellent game tonight. I like him, so I hope I'm wrong. I would rather get the hate in the comments that I'm wrong and him ball out because I want him to succeed. It kind of pisses me off, the if man stuff and, him choking in the playoffs. Like, I hope he has a good game. But if we just look at the metrics, he has not played well against Spagnuolo's defense over the past 2 years. Egbuka or Tet, I would lean Tetero McMillan. I would. Yeah, I mean, he's got a plethora of targets. It's just Xavier Legette who's healthy there. Egbuka still has Mike Evans, but Egbuka is not the wide receiver 1. Now, I think both of them have great matchups. I think Egbuka and Tetero McMillan are both easy starts this week. Trade Egbuka for B-Rob. You have CMC. I would not trade Egbuka for B-Rob. I sent a guy a trade. I sent like Tank Bigsby or ETN, like someone in that range for B-Rob. So you have, guy probably declined the trade. But I'm just saying, I don't think I would give up a guy like Egbuka for B-Rob. It does suck not having the handcuff to Christian McCaffrey. But at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like that's too much value to give up for a guy we still don't know is going to start this week or next week, right? Like, we don't know the severity yet of the Christian injury. We can assume it's a bad injury, but let's just say you trade Egbuka and he has a 1,000-yard rookie season, which is entirely possible. Yeah. No worries, dude. Caleb Johnson or Dante Thornton? Sorry, Alex. I know you've been asking that question a bunch. I just saw it. I saw it before, but I wanted to get to it. That's a good question. I think both are sits this week, honestly. Is there anybody else you have, Alex, on the bench? Because Caleb, I like Caleb this season. Like, long-term, he's a big sleeper if we're talking running back specifically. But if we're talking this week, Thornton, I'd be shocked if he gets more than 50 receiving yards, and I'd be shocked if Caleb Johnson gets more than 6 touches. So I would try and sit both, Alex. Yeah, no worries. If you have another option, I don't think either are good starts this week. And I'll come out with a video this week about sitting Caleb Johnson and sitting Thornton's probably an obvious sit since he was barely drafted, but I'll have more analysis for those Sunday games and videos. Yeah. What's up, Jared? What's your opinion on Bill? I think it's a buy low guy now, Bill is. I mean, he did practice with the twos, the second team. We know Eckler is a pass catching back. I think Bill could have a really good week. And I would not be shocked if he's used at the goal line, gets a touchdown. So I think he's a good buy low guy. I think another buy low guy is Jaden Blue, who got an active scratch, right? But Miles Sanders obviously fumbled. Blue is going to be activated and going to be used. I also did not love Javonte Williams' 3.6 yards a carry. I know it's against the Eagles defense, but they didn't have Jalen Carter, and he still only averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Sure, he had 2 1-yard run touchdowns, but who orchestrated those 1-yard run touchdowns? He had that one nice 10-yard run, which is great. Other than that, it was Dak getting it to CD, Dak getting it downfield, and then them running it in on those first few possessions. So I think he's a sell high guy, Javonte Williams. I would say Jaden Blue is a buy low guy. Herb or May this week? I would go Drake May. I like the matchup a lot this week for Drake. The problem is like Herbert has more weapons, right? But yeah, it's always dangerous to play guys in Brazil too, because this field is going to be shit. They could get hurt. Guys could slip. Guys, it's just like, who knows? These first week games are so hard to predict in terms of that, but especially the singular day games that are international. Like, remember those weird Germany games last year and London game? Like, there was some weird shit going on in those games. Like, all of a sudden, some random guy had 30 fantasy points, and then your superstar had 4 fantasy points. And I remember Chuba Hubbard, like, fumbled 3 times there or twice or whatever. Tyrone Tracy fumbled once or twice there. Like, it was a weird situation. Pollard or Dobbins? Answer, please. Yeah, I'd lean Tony Pollard. Both have tougher matchups, same matchup. But I think both defensive lines are pretty good. Thoughts on CMC? Yeah, I'm concerned. Maybe I'm overreacting, and I hope I'm overreacting. And I hope I'm wrong, but it just doesn't sit right in my gut. Like, especially last year after the same shit was going on where they kept saying, oh, CMC is going to play, and all of a sudden he missed 9 games with Achilles tendonitis. And the Achilles tendonitis did not go away. Now it can be mitigated, and it's been mitigated, but now he's trying to get to full strength for a game. Personally, as the Niners, I'd be looking at it long term and being like, if he has this legit calf issue, if this is a legit injury, we're sitting him this week. We're not risking the entire year for him to get injured and tear his Achilles again. Honestly, I think that's something they should consider. I know it would hurt us as fantasy football players, but that's something to consider, the longevity of his health. Cooper Kupp for Ollie Gordon? No, I would keep Cooper Kupp. Pacheco or Egbuka at flex? Egbuka. Pacheco's good, but I think Egbuka is a better game. Yeah, if CMC plays, he might tear his Achilles. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's truly hurt, if his calf is bothering him, don't play. Like, it's very simple to me. Pacheco or Jones? Both tough matchups. I'd lean Pacheco. I think he has more of a monopoly on that run game than Jones. They'll use Mason a lot. Kyren Williams and DJ Moore at flex. I would go Kyren Williams. Again, volume is king. Guaranteed touches with Kyren Williams. So I don't know. I'm not hating on starting DJ Moore. Like, I think he's probably a good start, fine start, but I would start Kyren Williams. You're trying to get Trevion Henderson off a league mate. Should you give him Sutton and Golden for Trey? That's a lot, dude. I mean, Golden could be the real deal. Sutton is going to be very good, even though I think other guys step up in that Broncos offense. Maybe he won't do Sutton and, like, who else is on your bench? Yeah. Let's see. Zay Flowers or Terry McLaurin? Sasha, I would go with Terry McLaurin this week. Thoughts on Dylan Sampson? Like him, but I think Jerome Ford is going to have a bigger game. DK or Rome? I would go. Oh, that's a tough one. I'd go Rome this week, honestly. DK is a brutal matchup. Sauce Gardner is going to be the assignment. I don't think Aaron even throws for over 150 yards. Someone said Chargers +3 or +4. I don't hate it. I think the Chiefs probably win. But yeah. Would you trade Javonte Williams and DJ Moore for A.J. Brown? His stock will never be lower. That's a lot to give up for A.J. Brown, honestly. And like, even DJ Moore for A.J. Brown, who's your backup running back? I mean, that's probably a good deal. I'm a little concerned about A.J. Brown, though. Hey, Moody, bro. Shit happens. Everyone has an off game, big dog. You don't have to listen. Dean's like, what do you like today so you could fade? Bro, look at the video. I already posted it. DJ Moore or Ted in the flex. I would go McMillan. Plethora of targets. Wide receiver 1. No competition. DJ Moore has, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet. It just concerns me a little bit. RJ Harvey, Mario Douglas this week. I would go to Mario Douglas. What's up, dude? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out Maj Sports.
Maj, yeah.
Maj Sports, great Niners creator. Let's talk about the Christian McCaffrey thing before we answer some of these questions. I don't know if you're hopped on your phone. Maybe you could hop on the live too on my personal so that you see some of these questions because they're not going to show
I
up
think
on
I
the
can.
rest
I
of the
can
room.
see some Tatum, VFX, Emily, and then Emily. Are those like the people in your chat
Oh, those are people on YouTube.
on
Yeah,
YouTube?
yeah, yeah. But on TikTok, it's completely different. I don't know why it won't show up. I got to fix that.
Okay.
Well, I know you have a different thought than me on the Christian McCaffrey thing. I'm probably way more concerned than you.
Yeah.
Let me hear your
I
thoughts on
think
it.
because right now I'm trying to like go into this season like, you know what? It's gonna be great. This is gonna be awesome. That's why. But like now that the times kind of went by a little bit, I am kind of scared. But did you see McCaffrey's interview? He said he's good, but this happened last year.
And then his teammate had that weird look at him too. Who
I
was
don't
that,
know,
by the
man.
way?
What?
Who was that? His teammate that was looking at him strange
Was
in the
that?
background.
I don't know who that was. Was that Evan? That wasn't Evan Anderson. I don't
I
know
thought
who
it was
that
a D tackle. Yeah, it
It
was
was
somebody like
definitely a
that. I mean,
defensive
it was
tackle.
it was a big guy. I didn't
I
know off
don't
the top
know.
of my head.
This is just
But
frustrating. Why does this have to happen? Oh, 2 days before game day, this happens. It's just I don't know.
trust
It's
me, I know you go through it too, man. I mean, I just started to lower my expectations. Perhaps I should be more optimistic.
yeah. I
But
don't
you know,
it's
it's
just
just one of those things where they blew a Super Bowl, two, three actually. But the last one they should have won easily. They were by far the better team, and it was just a
yeah.
mismanaged game. And then the Spencer Buford missed block, all that shit. We could talk about it for hours, right? That was their like big window. I'm not saying it's closed. Like I still think they can contend for a Super Bowl this year if
100%,
McCaffrey is healthy. But
100%.
to me, it's like I see people that are like, "Oh, if we have B Rob, we can still contend for a Super Bowl." I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude? Like Christian's one of the best players in the league. Like I know B Rob is good, but what are your thoughts there? Because can they still be okay? Of course, they have an easy schedule, but they're not winning a Super Bowl without Christian McCaffrey.
No, if anyone's saying that we're winning a Super Bowl with B-Rob, like don't get me wrong, I still love the pickup of B-Rob. That's a huge pickup because now that McCaffrey's having this injury, who would have been the backup? I don't trust Isaac Guerrero. That guy's made of freaking paper. Jordan James might not even play. So like you
Yeah.
don't really know what's Robert, whatever that guy. I don't even know. I don't
Oh,
even
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like Robert
Or
Taylor.
which one? Oh, you talking about the DC or like the backup running back, the
Robert
super
Taylor,
backup?
Robert Taylor Jr.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
hurt
yeah.
his shoulder, that random. I don't even like he's out for the year. So it's like who do we have? At least you can look at the bright side of things. At least we have Brian Robinson. At least he'd be somewhat of an okay running back two, running back one on some teams. But we do need McCaffrey. Like this is just. I think still I do think he's gonna play, but I'm just scared now if he plays and gets injured and then he's out.
Yeah, that's my big concern because if I'm talking about it like fantasy aside, if I'm Kyle Shanahan and there's even somewhat of a concern of
Yeah.
re-injury,
Yeah.
because he still is the bilateral Achilles tendonitis isn't going to go away, right? Like that's something he's going to have to mitigate the rest of his career. And at the end of the day, it's like if you play him and he has, hopefully it's calf cramps, like what people are saying, and it's not like a calf strain or a calf injury to that extent. But if he does
Yeah.
have a calf strain or a calf injury or if it's bothering him, I would just sit him, dude. Honestly, I think that you can win that game without Christian McCaffrey. I know it's a tough game. I do like Seattle's roster. And we know historically the Niners start off poorly, except last season, which was weird, or the year before against Pittsburgh. But before that, they would suck every year in the first game.
Yes.
And they would kind of be better as the season went along. I don't know. I would say I know he said nothing serious, but can we believe him at this point? It's
No,
kind of
you
like the
can't.
boy who cried wolf. It's
You
like
can't. And you can't
right?
even trust Shanahan either. You can't. Like Shanahan says the same. Shanahan's weird, man. He's a weird dude. Like even the press conference, he just like he's like, I don't want to talk about injuries right now. Like it's just why? Why not? Like what's happening? I don't know. You can't trust Shanahan. You can't trust anyone. We're gonna have to just wait and see if McCaffrey's the main thing right now that I'm scared about is if he plays and gets injured. Like that's the main thing I'm scared about. It's not even really if he sits, because that's like kind of already everyone kind of already sees that coming. But it's like if he plays and then hurts his calf even more, he might be done. Like that's
Like
not
his
good.
career might be over if he gets injured again. You know what I mean?
If it's
And
that
and
bad, if it's his calf again, he's done. Like there's no way. Like there's no way. There's
and
no
not
way.
just that. I mean, by the way, follow Mosh Sports if you guys aren't already. Thank you so much, bro,
Appreciate it, man.
for joining the stream. He has a great page everywhere. You should follow him. Also follow me if you're not already. But
100%.
yeah. But
100%.
also, I did want to say this because I've always been under the impression after they signed him to that extension post Super Bowl
Yeah.
that he would be converted to a slot receiver within a few years. Now, I do think that if something happens with his Achilles again, and I think his days of playing running back are over, I do think he would switch to a slot receiver because he is such a good pass catcher. And
He
could
is.
he be like an Adam Thielen type? I know you're not paying a guy 19 million a year to do that, but
I
I think
mean,
that's certainly possible. If that is like worst case scenario, they could use a guy like him in the locker room still, and a guy that can catch passes at a high level.
that's worst case scenario. I don't even want to think about that. That's worst case scenario.
Look,
You're it's a valid point. It's just I don't want to think about that, man. This sucks. Like, why does this always dude, you're an Niners fan, I'm a Niners fan. This happens every freaking year, man. It's like we finally had 53 people at our practice. We're all healthy. And then 3 hours later, it's McCaffrey was limited. It's like, man, we can't even go a day without our team being fully healthy. We can't go a day. We went
well, that's
3 hours.
and I
We
just
went 3
posted a
hours.
video on it, and I'm like, people were mad at me for being negative about it, but I'm like, why don't they look? Why don't they fire if they haven't already the people that are running the training room and stuff? Now I get the players have predispositions to injury, but every year they're
Dude,
first in injuries. Like, what are we doing? Put all the money in the world. Tell Brock Purdy, let's take some of your money from your contract,
yes,
let's put it in as a clause to have guys stay healthy. Take
exactly.
some money from somewhere, or whatever money they make off of Leeds United or whatever they're trying to save money for in
Yeah.
Europe this year, and just put it toward hiring a good trainer. Like, at the end of the day, I'm a little concerned.
Or stretch.
I
I heard
know
they don't
people are
stretch
like,
before like, yeah, they don't stretch. I don't know if that's a thing, but it's like, I don't it's weird. It has to be something. It's just and one of the main like the funniest thing is I always like argue with my friends. I'm always like, you know what? Like the Niners, we have so many injuries, and like you can't use that as an excuse. It's like at some points, it's not even an excuse. We actually don't have players on our team that are good.
well, and I
Like
think the Lions win the Super Bowl last year if they're not hurt, right?
it,
So I think it's like a whole different. Like,
exactly.
by the way, I still stand on this, even with injuries. I don't like to play the what if game, but
Yes, sir.
if they beat the Commanders, I do think they beat the Eagles. Like, I do. I still think
That's
that.
that's
This
not a
year
crazy
is
take.
different. They have a lot of injuries already, but I think, injuries do affect every team, but some more than others. Let's be real. I think
100%.
Grant just said, my friend Grant commented, he's just run some money through aspiration. That's the Clippers thing that's going on. The whole fake company that was funneling
Yeah.
money and whatever. I do want to answer a few of these. I don't know if you could see it, but there are some questions about what do we think about Brees Hall. I think that's a good comment. I'm going to pin this comment if I can. How do I
Like, what
pin
do we
it?
just think about him as a running back?
Yeah, you can go first. I'm going to try and pin this comment while you're doing
Brees
that.
is he's good. Do I think he's gonna be a Jet by the end of this year? Like by like till next season? I like Brees Hall. He's an Iowa State guy. So anyone that went to Iowa State, I love. Like he played with Brock Purdy, so I love him. I don't really know much about Brees Hall. Like when he played against the Niners, he was not bad. Like it's just I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about that entire backfield. Honestly, I like
Because they
Braylon
have
Allen a lot.
Braylon Allen. That's the guy I was gonna talk about. That guy could take Brees Hall's job.
Exactly, which is why in fantasy, and look, we're talking about I was pro drafting McCaffrey too, and we're talking about fade Brees Hall in like the third round. Well, honestly, right now it's probably like shit. I wish I drafted Brees Hall in round 3 or 4 instead
Yeah,
of taking McCaffrey at 7 overall, right? But the McCaffrey situation is something I don't think anybody's ever dealt with in fantasy football, and I say this for two reasons. Every year he's played 15 plus games, he's been the RB1 or 2. So you
100%.
have a 40 or 50% higher chance of winning your league if he's healthy for a full season. That's
Yeah.
a big if, but I'm willing to take that risk 10 out of 10 times. But if he gets hurt one more time, like if this is serious, I'm never taking that risk again because he will be 30 years old next year. And it's completely different once you get past 30. And I think Saquon's going to go through the same thing relatively soon because he's had a lot of usage throughout his career. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And obviously he hasn't had the injury levels to, McCaffrey, but he did have
He is on the
400
Madden
plus
26 cover.
yeah, and he has better line. So, like, we
He
always talk
does.
about this
Way
too. Like,
better.
a pet peeve I have about the 49ers, and I know you'll agree with me, is like, why don't they prioritize the offensive line? Like, you look at the teams that are consistently great.
Uh-huh.
Don't you think if we had maybe, let's say, never paid Brandon Ayuk, let's say we traded him for a tackle or a few picks and got a tackle there, or let's get rid of Greenlaw and Hufanga or whatever, let him walk and let's sign a tackle instead of signing Demarcus Robinson or something. Even if the wide receiver depth is low, don't you think if they actually had a top 10 line they would have won, the last 3 Super Bowls that they were in. Like, I know Trent Williams is great, but besides Pooney and Trent Williams, they got a bunch of bums on the offensive line,
Dude,
you know?
you could easily say we could have won the last Super Bowl. If Purdy had time on, I
Yeah,
think
and
it
the
was Clifford
Buford
Burford.
yeah, when
Yeah,
Chris
this
Jones
play,
Burford, yeah, when he just went
dude,
unblocked. Yeah.
right there, we win the Super Bowl. So yes, I don't know why we haven't addressed the offensive line. Love Pooney and love Trent, but sooner or later, Trent's gonna retire. My guess is it's probably gonna be after this year, and then our offensive line is so bad. It's
Yeah,
so
well,
bad.
I think it's unequivocally that's what they're gonna do with the first round pick that they have, wherever it is next year.
They have to.
It's a huge tackle draft. You're getting Trent's replacement next year.
You have
Otherwise,
to.
you're gonna have to play Pooney at left tackle, and he's kind of small and like he's a all pro guard. You don't want to do that.
No.
The problem I have too is like I love the Niners, right? I have my reservations about John Lynch's roster construction and in this. How are the Eagles paying their quarterback 50 million a year and consistently dominant? How are the Chiefs paying their quarterback 50 million dollars a year and consistently dominant? Their trench play is fantastic. And
It is,
finally, the Niners prioritize the defensive line last draft. As
which I
long as
love.
they prioritize the offensive line next draft, and they take 4 or 5 linemen, I think they can be Super Bowl contenders for the foreseeable future because then they'll have a young core built on trench play. And obviously that relies on Mykel Williams being better and, improving and becoming a legitimate pass rusher because, he's very raw as a pass rusher. Great
Yeah,
run defender already.
we run about it. Yeah,
Alfred Collins didn't love the pick, but you know what? He has long arms. Hopefully he can stop the run. CJ
it was
West is a
huge.
monster. But I'm just saying, if they get to that point, then I feel like I can put them in those conversations with like, okay, they are going to be consistently good like the Eagles. Because even if the Eagles lose, guys, like you could have Will Shipley out there at running back and they'd win 11 games. They don't need Saquon
Probably.
Barkley to win 11 games because their
No,
trench play is so dominant.
it
And
is.
that's what I feel like the Niners are lacking. The reason why they lose so many games when guys get hurt, when their best players get hurt, like McCaffrey and Trent, is all of a sudden Brock Purdy has to run for his life and throw up these these random balls downfield that are going to get picked or can't get the ball downfield.
That was a
That's the
problem with
biggest
Purdy last
problem.
year.
That's the biggest hindrance, in my opinion. Like, look at what the Broncos are doing right now. Like the Broncos, yeah, they drafted a quarterback in Bo Nix, but they have one of the best offensive lines in the league and defensive lines. And that's what wins Super Bowls. Like we look at history, every Super Bowl champion pretty much of the last 20 years has had a great offensive and defensive line.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
think
literally that was the difference with the Niners, why they didn't win.
100%, 100%. I agree with you. I think the main thing about Purdy last year is he was trying to do too much because the offensive line was so bad. Like Purdy was trying to do way too much. He would like run out of the pocket, just like start scrambling, doing 360 backflips. Like he was just trying to do way too much. I think this year he's definitely going to take that down a notch. I hope. I do think the Niners. One guy I'm actually excited for is left guard Ben Barch. If he can stay healthy,
Yeah.
he'll be good. But it's the biggest if ever because the guy is made out of freaking paper. That guy,
Dude, you know who else I like
who?
on that line? 2 guys. I love Drew Moss. I think he deserves playing time.
And Brock Lesnar's girlfriend. Is that or
Yeah,
no
that's him.
boyfriend or whatever? That's
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
That's him.
Drew
Okay,
Moss.
yeah.
And
I like
then
him.
I
He's good.
like Connor Colby. I think both of those
But
guys
okay, I
should
think
be
though.
starters right
Listen,
away.
I like Connor. I like those guys, but I think we're too ahead on them just because they're just we drafted those two. We got an undrafted. Boom, they're good. Like they're good. Don't get me wrong, but I think we can get better. We can get better. It's like why didn't this draft? I did like how we did go defensive line. It's just next draft we do have to go offensive line.
And
Like
by the way,
that's
I
what I
was
think
hating on the Nick Martin pick at the time. And then I
dude,
watched his tape and I was like,
dude,
I'm never going to question Saleh with
dude.
linebackers
He's a
ever
dog. I
again.
love Nick Martin.
Well, with Saleh is like the king of drafting linebackers. Like he drafted Fred Warner, he drafted Dre Greenlaw, drafted D Winters, and he's going to draft, he drafted Nick Martin basically.
Is Nick Martin starting on Sunday? He has to. No,
I think
he
it's
was
D
the best.
Winters. I'm pretty sure they're going to start Winters, but Winters is made of glass. He's good, but
Yeah.
he's made of glass.
Made of glass.
The thing I'm concerned about with this Niners team now, let's say McCaffrey is healthy and they have the easiest schedule in football. And I'll get back to the fantasy stuff in a second, but I do, while I have you here, want to talk about the Niners a little bit because I think they're their biggest if team in the league. If these guys are healthy, they're in the same conversation as the Eagles and the Rams, Packers, however you want to say it, Lions, I guess. I'm not as high in the Packers as other people. I think they have a lot of flaws, but people seem to think they're going to the Super Bowl or close. But let's just say in that Eagles tier, right?
Yep.
The thing I still get concerned about is one, relying on 6 or 7 rookies is the first thing. And
Yeah.
I think they're all good, but they're still rookies.
They are.
Okay.
That's
And then
valid.
the next thing I worry about is the depth, dude, because that D line, okay, let's say, God forbid, Nick Bosa gets hurt, or God forbid, CJ West and Alfred Collins are out. Then you
We're
have
screwed.
literally guys that are playing in the CFL that we're going to have to sign to come play. You know
We're
what I
just
mean?
very
Or the
thin.
practice squad. And the
Very thin.
DBs, I know, Mustafa, when he comes back, the defense will be awesome. That's why people always say, "Oh, the Niners are going to be bad. They lost these players." Well, you obviously didn't watch Mustafa play. The reason why they let Hufanga walk was because they have Malik Mustafa. And the reason why
Yeah.
they let Greenlaw walk is because, well, they did want to sign him. That's probably a bad example. But the
Did you
Hufanga
see
one,
though? Did you see
yeah,
Greenlaw's
he
out
got
week
hurt,
1?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise. He's always hurt. Great
He's always
guy, great player, but he's always injured. I love the
hurt.
guy, love what he did for us. We win the Super Bowl, obviously, if he plays the entire game. He was shutting down Kelsey. But what can you do? That's the luck of the draw, right?
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, someone says, by the way, I'm a Packers fan. A lot of hype is unjustified, still a lot to prove. I agree. I think the Packers secondary is dog shit, personally. Like
I
after Alexander left, it's like
But they
I
still
don't
got
know.
Xavier McKinney.
Like their pass rusher is gonna be good. Their pass
Dude,
rushers
I
are
don't
gonna be good.
know. I think the
But
Packers will be a lot better. They just added a top 3 defensive edge in the league,
yeah.
and they barely lost to the Eagles, and they barely lost to the Niners the year before. Like, I think
Yeah.
they're on the cusp of getting there. Definitely don't think they're Super Bowl, like, contenders. I don't think I would be shocked if they make it to the Super Bowl. I definitely do think, though, they're going to be a great team.
Well,
Like,
LaFleur is just 99-cent store Kyle Shanahan.
he is.
He's a great regular season coach like Shanahan, but when it gets to the playoffs, even
He
though Shanahan chokes, he gets to the Super Bowl at least and then
and
chokes
chokes.
for the NFC
The
Championship.
Niners are just
LaFleur
the
chokes
Cowboys.
immediately.
The
Yeah,
Niners are just the Cowboys. We just make it to the Super Bowl and
that's the
leave.
difference. Yeah. I mean, the
That's how
Cowboys.
good we are.
By the way, I was impressed by the Cowboys more than people thought. I thought Schottenheimer did a great job on those first 2 drives, and Dak played his ass off in the second half. The problem
Dude,
was
but
CeeDee Lamb dropped all those passes. They should have won, dude. It's ridiculous. The Eagles
dude,
played horrible.
the thing I hate though, and I've seen videos about it today, is people are like, "Oh, this puts Dak in the top 5 conversation. He's top 5." It's like, guys, it's one. Listen, don't get me wrong. He played great. He played really good, and I'm not just because I'm an Niners fan. I'm not hating on Dak. He played really good. But when Dak, it's the first game of the year. Let Dak get into his rhythm, and he's gonna start sucking again. Like it's just that's how Dak does. That's
Well,
how.
when Dak enters the postseason, he gets
Yes.
docile and scared. And I think Justin Herbert has the same problem. Like they don't
Yeah.
have that it factor to turn it on in the postseason. And one thing, even though Brock Purdy doesn't have half the talent, pure talent, if we're talking about stuff in general, right? Like physical ability as Dak and Justin, his
100%.
processing is elite and he has moxie. Like you can count on that guy to step up in a big game.
Yep.
That is honestly the biggest difference. When you look at Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, we're not talking about, oh, they're the greatest talents ever. Like we know Lamar Jackson is more talented than all of those quarterbacks combined, and so is Josh Allen. But
Yep.
what they did, they were killers and they could read defenses. And to me, the thing is we'll get back to this fantasy stuff in a sec because I know people actually are wanting their sit starts before the game. Hopefully I do better than yesterday. Bro, I went like 0 out of 8 yesterday. It was
I don't
crazy.
really even play fantasy. That's why I tweeted you my fantasy draft, dude. I don't really
Yeah.
even do fantasy.
Well, it's good, dude. Waddle is a high risk guy, but I have Waddle in one league. But
I thought
yesterday,
I thought my Aaron Jones pick was good. He's a starter, no?
I don't know how long he's gonna be a
I
starter
don't
for.
really
But
know.
he's good for this week. I mean, I love Mason though. I think
I
Mason's so
know.
good. And I think he's
So
going to
good.
take his job at some point. But yeah, everyone's in the comments right now like, oh, let's see. Oh, Tim Lee's like TB12 arm talent is 1-on-1. Yeah, but I'm talking about like being able to extend plays, stuff like that, like to the level of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. None of those guys have that, right? But yeah, everyone kept cooking me. Dude, I have like 10,000 hate comments the last few days about choking with my picks yesterday. It was one game, and I was like, dude, sit Javonte Williams. And I had metrics to back it up. I was like, Eagles run defense is elite.
That's
Okay, how
valid
was
though.
I supposed
No
to know
one thought
Jalen
Javonte
Carter
Williams.
gets fucking ejected before the first play?
Dude,
Of course, Javonte's then going to get 2 touchdowns because
exactly.
it changes the whole game.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then,
No,
okay,
this
magically, I
the
also
thing
said start George Pickens. Why the fuck was Quinyon Mitchell not on CeeDee Lamb? He was on George Pickens. How was I
Exactly.
supposed to know that?
Yes, exactly.
know?
But that's why fantasy. Listen, I love fantasy, but fantasy is 50%. Like it's kind of luck as well. Cause like, like there's guys like you. You're very smart with fantasy, you know your shit. But then there's
I
like
appreciate it. Yeah.
You don't know if he's gonna be on that guy. You don't know if he's
Yeah,
gonna be
at
on
the end
that
of
guy.
the
You don't
day, I'm basing all of my picks on projections, what
actually
they've
no.
done
Wait,
against these
no,
teams in the
Brandon. You
past.
should have. No. You should have known that Jalen Carter was gonna spit on Dak. You
Yeah,
should have known that.
apparently,
Like, what an idiot.
like these people were starting Javonte Williams anyways. No one was starting him. He was sat in
No.
91% of leagues.
No.
This person says, by the way, JSN or Tet this week. I love both. I
Brett,
unfortunately think JSN is going to go off against us. He's just that good. Him
he
and
is
Ken
good,
Walker probably have pretty big games, if I had to guess.
but they're gonna lose. So
But they're going to lose.
that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
but if McCaffrey plays, McCaffrey doesn't play. I don't know. That's a
Dude,
pick
stop,
of-
bro. Stop. You're gonna, dude. He's playing. Yes, he's playing. He's playing. 100%. He's playing.
He's still projected 18 fantasy points. Thank God. But yeah, CMC is okay. Again, I appreciate you coming on. If you guys haven't
100%.
already, make sure to follow Mosh Sports. I'm going to get back
Appreciate you, man.
to start suggestions, but thank you so much. We'll hop on again next week. We
Perfect,
can do
bro.
maybe if you want. I could hop on yours. You could hop on mine.
Hop
Whatever.
on my man. I love it.
Post week 1 Niners stuff.
If
once
you
we
want to
get out.
hop on my channel, I'm gonna do a live stream after the game on like this Sunday. I don't know if you're free, but just text me.
Okay. Yeah, I just have work at like 4. So probably not.
Just let me know.
But Monday I could do it. Just let me know.
Okay. Perfect, man. Thank you so much.
All right, dude. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
See you, man.
Yep. See you. Alrighty. So 0 out of 4 is kind of crazy. Dude, Asher, it wasn't 0 out of 4, dog. It was 0 out of 8, brother. Or actually, I think it was 2 out of 8 because Dallas Goedert wasn't really a start. Like, he didn't do that bad. He didn't do that great, right? And yeah. But anyways, Judy, Worthy, or Tet. I would go McMillan. I think McMillan's awesome. Now the game's about to start, so we can start doing these sit-start suggestions about this current game, if possible. And then I can answer the rest. I'll be going live all weekend, posting videos all weekend about that. Hollywood Brown going for 100 yards. Dude, if Brown goes for 100 yards, I'm Jesus Christ. Like, that's not happening. There's absolutely no chance Hollywood Brown goes for 100 yards. And if he does, watch him now go for 100 yards since I said that. I think his over-under is like 20, bro. You think Travis Hunter or Ridley at flex? I'd go Hunter actually, and I would start most receivers over Ridley. Ridley is going up against Pat Surtain. Frank's like all 49ers fantasy team. I'm such a homer in that auction league. I traded for CMC yesterday, and then he gets hurt magically. Of course, my luck. Right after I trade him, he misses practice. Trade for him. By the way, if you guys want to buy property, Frank's the guy to ask. He has like 10 properties. Bro's like 32. A mogul right there. Fantasy football legend though. He does like the Eagles, so I don't know. That's kind of a downgrade in my opinion. Fuck the Eagles. With all due respect. And I say that with love because they're so good and so dominant. And that's why I hate them. Pacheco or Diggs flex. I would lean Pacheco. I wouldn't be shocked if Diggs has a big game. I don't think either go over 15 fantasy points. Though I do consider Pacheco a slight start because I do expect him to get 10 to 12 fantasy points. And to me, that could be the difference in winning your matchup. I would rather start a guy like that with consistent volume than a guy like Diggs, who you don't know if he's going to have 7 catches or 1. You know what I mean? Hey, Quiz. By the way, you guys should follow Quiz. That's the boy right there. Funniest page on TikTok. Great analysis. Quiz is the man. Start A-Rod, Steelers winning Super Bowl. You know, Quiz, I would not start A-Rod against the Jets, bro. That's a tough matchup. But he might just say fuck it because he hates him so much and how it ended. He might actually go off. I'm hoping it's close because I have Garrett Wilson in one league and Justin Fields in one league, and I hope they ball out because of Fields' is upside. I like the Steelers as a team in real life. In fantasy, I'm a little concerned about A-Rod. I'm a little concerned about DK going on. Yeah, bro, Quiz. What do you mean? Bro said Quiz. What do you mean? Anyways, I'm a little concerned about DK going on Sauce Gardner. Is Hampton a start? Barely. I think Hampton's barely a start. Let's see. Mahomes or Knicks this week. By the way, I don't think Hampton's like a it's the same thing as Pacheco. It's like 12 to 15 fantasy points. I would be shocked if he gets more than 15 fantasy points, but I'm pretty confident he's going to get 10 to 12. Hampton and Pacheco both. Pearsall or RJ Harvey. Yeah, bro, I would lean Pearsall. RJ Harvey's still going to be an RB2 this week. He'll have some catches. Like in PPR leagues, he's a little more valuable. Is Dak? Okay, I love this question. Is Dak cooked for fantasy? Absolutely not. He's not cooked for fantasy. I was really impressed with some of the throws he made in the second half. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was. I mean, I was impressed. I don't know why I was questioning that. CD dropped a few great passes. Your QB1 is Baker, or your QB1 is Lamar, QB2 is Baker. What is it, a super flex, or is it just in general? I mean, those are two really good quarterbacks regardless. Start Stroud or Mahomes. I would go Mahomes this week. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'd lean Mahomes. There's just rushing upside there. I don't think Stroud has any rushing upside. And that's really the difference. Mahomes is a pretty tough matchup tonight, but I don't think it prevents him from getting like 16 fantasy points or more. Do you start Brian Thomas Jr. or let's see, Brian Thomas Jr. or let's see, sorry, I lost it for a second. Oh, or Malik Neighbors. I would start Malik Neighbors. Huge fan of the show, already a sub. Am I insane to play Swift instead of Overhampton? I'm scared of the Najee participation in Swift as online. Yeah, I honestly go with your gut. I don't think it's that crazy. I personally would be 50-50 as well. I think Swift has a pretty good game. I think there's more upside with DeAndre Swift. I think Hampton has a higher floor, if that makes sense. He's a little bit safer. Minnesota's defensive line ranked, I believe, 4th against the run last season. So I'm a little concerned there. By the way, thank you so much for subbing. Again, if you guys don't follow me already on TikTok, follow me on TikTok. That's where I'm the biggest. But trying to get bigger on YouTube, on X, make sure you follow me on all platforms. I'd appreciate your support. Even with the people that were cooking me yesterday for the Javonte Williams thing, I still love all you guys. I'm fine getting cooked. I'll stand on business. I'll keep everything up. I don't care. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I base all this on projections in the research that I do based on previous games of them playing, metrics of what the defenses will play, what kind of coverages, how they've done against similar wide receivers. So it can't always be right, but I do trust my projections a lot. And again, I'm not super confident with starting Amari Hampton either. He's a slight start from my perspective because 12 to 15 fantasy points can win you a matchup. And I think he gets it between 10 and 15. Minimum of 10, though. I think the floor is very high for Hampton and Pacheco. I think the floor is very low for DeAndre Swift, but the upside is way more vast than Omari and Hampton, by the way. Chase Brown or Ashton Genty, I mean, both. You should be starting both. I don't think there's kick out whoever's on your flex. Opinion on CMC. We just talked about it for a while with Mod Sports. Make sure you check him out. He's Niners creator, does a very good job. Great analysis. He's a little concerned. I'm more concerned. I'm doom or gloom at this point as a Niners fan and as somebody who's had him in fantasy the last 3 years. And I won my league 2 years ago, all my leagues because of him. And I lost a few leagues last year. I'm not going to lie to you guys because I had McCaffrey. I couldn't sustain that. I had Jordan Mason, then he got hurt. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to take that risk with him. I think McCaffrey, I would just stay away from. I'm so concerned about him. I wouldn't even buy low on him right now. I sent a trade offer. The highest I would go is Trevion Henderson for CMC and see if that was accepted. Other than that, I'm scared. I'm petrified he could miss the entire year. I would not be shocked if that happens. I am not going to lie to you guys. Need DJ Moore, Sutton take. Okay, I would go Sutton. It's close, bro, but I would go Sutton. Let's see. Aaron Jones or Jameson Williams for flex. I would go Jameson Williams, but it's close. Again, this is like playing apples and oranges right there. Those are two very good players. I'm gonna turn on the game here. That's why I'm Prime. Isn't it on Prime Video tonight? Am I tripping? It's on Prime Video. Can someone answer that for me, please? Thank you. What do you think of Achane? Dude, if Achane's healthy, he's great. I'm just really concerned about the calf injury. Same reason why I'm concerned about McCaffrey. Like Achane legit missed multiple weeks with the calf strain. That could turn into Achilles injury, which is why Ollie Gordon is a solid start. Because of that. Live TV. Oh, is it on, what is it, on YouTube TV? Oh, shit, is it actually on YouTube TV? That's crazy. Wow. Watch now. Is that Derek Carr? My television screen right here? Holy moly, it is Derek Carr. Why do they have Derek Carr out there? Suit up, bro. Come on. Let's see. what do you think about Cortland Sutton and a Dunze for Trevion? Dude, that's too much to give up for Trevion. And I love Henderson, but like I think Rome is a star, bro. I think Rome's great. You're right, but I'm hoping he breaks out. Yeah, I'm hoping so too. I would temper my expectations a little bit for Omarion Hampton. Just a tad. Tonight. The season, I'm in on him. Tonight, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle with that defensive line, but I still am starting him in multiple leagues. If that makes you guys feel more comfortable, I feel like I have to. I think he's a better start than the guys I have on the bench. Let's see. Pearsall, Hampton, or Igbuka? Pearsall. Pearsall and Igbuka over Hampton this week, but Pearsall for sure I would play over Hampton. Jacoby Myers or Zay Flowers in the second flex. That's a tough one. Jacoby Myers, if he plays, might have an excellent matchup because Christian Gonzalez is out, if I'm not mistaken. I'd low-key go Jacoby Myers. I mean, it takes, yeah. Does Ladd score tonight? I don't know if he scores. I mean, I would say I project him around probably 6 catches, 71 yards. I don't know if that's going to turn into a score. I would lean no that he doesn't score, but he gets enough points to get like 15 fantasy points. ETN or Diggs in the flex. Look, I think you got to have confidence in this. Loki, I'd start ETN. I think ETN's going to do well. Maybe I'm crazy. You can come cook me about that. I probably am too biased because I love ETN so much. Another guy that helped me win my league a few years ago, and then I'm still kind of in on. He's only 26 years of age. He's much faster, much more explosive than Tank Bigsby, but still. Let's see. Start 2, Trevion, Harvey, Sutton. I would start Trevion and Sutton, even though I love Harvey. Trevion, Igbuka, PPR flex. You're starting Mike Evans already. Do you have Baker Mayfield? I don't mind the triple stack there, but I would lean Trevion in that sense because you have Mike Evans. But if you had Baker, I don't know. Let's see. Eckler, Downs, or Ridley at flex. Kind of high on Downs. First game with Jones throwing short. Yeah, I actually like Downs between those three guys. Downs is going to have a big game. Ridley is a brutal matchup. I'd be shocked if he has a big game against Pat Surtain. Start Hampton tonight or Debo Sunday. Dude, Debo probably has higher upside. I would start Hampton out of safety and just in case he gets a touchdown because he is a running back. Volume is king. He's going to have the volume. We don't know what Debo is going to do, honestly. Let's see. What were we thinking about both Jags running backs? Yeah, that's a good question. I would feel more comfortable starting ETN than Bigsby. Not comfortable about either, but they're both dart throws. I think Tootin is the only sit because he's probably not going to get any touches, 5 at most. I think ETN probably catches a few more passes than Bigsby, but Bigsby has that touchdown upside. I do think they'll use Bigsby at the goal line. So it depends what you want. If you're in a PPR league, I'd lean ETN. If you're in a standard league, I'd probably lean Bigsby just because I do think that ETN will catch 3 or 4 passes out of the backfield, be used kind of like a gadget type player. I would say similarly to the way that the Steelers use Jalen Warren. I think Bigsby will be used kind of more through the tackles at the goal line and on first down plays and stuff or 3rd and 1, whatever. Do I like the Chiefs defense today? I mean, I don't hate it. It's a good match. I'm playing them in one league. I have them starting in one league. So at the end of the day, I'm not overly concerned. Let's see. Rome or DK? I'd lean DK, but it's close. I don't think either. Actually, I'd play Rome. I think DK is going to get shut down this week. Yeah. Start Tyreek or Worthy. I would start Tyreek. The upside's so vast. I think both are starts. I would honestly just sit whoever you have at flex and start both of those guys. But again, I feel more comfortable about Tyreek. Pearsall, Waddle, Warren, Ford for flex. I would go. Ford is the safest start in all of fantasy football right now. The safest, no doubt about it. So I would start him. He has an easy matchup. I would start Pearsall as well if you have 2 flex, but I would start probably Ford over both of those guys right now. Do you believe in Bill? I do. I still believe in Bill. I think he's a buy low candidate. Same with Jaden Blue after last night. Who do you try to trade Devontae Smith away for? Keep him right now. Wait till he has a big game, then trade him. Let's see. Going through the comments. Thoughts on JJ McCarthy season? I think he's an underrated year. I think JJ McCarthy is a very good player in that system. I don't think there's going to be much of a discrepancy between Sam Darnold and him to the way people think that's going to happen. Let's see, I'm going through the comments. Debo or Hampton? I'd go Hampton slightly. Again, go with your gut though. That's just what I would do. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but I would lean Hampton. Its volume is king. We don't know how much volume Debo is going to have, how many catches, how he's going to be utilized. You know what I mean? What do you do with CMC? Draft him 8 overall. Keep him for now. If he misses this game, we reconsider on Monday. I'll come out with a video about it Monday. Let's see. Aaron Jones or Pacheco. I would lean Pacheco, but it's very close. I don't think either has a particularly great game, but I think Pacheco is going to have a little more volume if I had to guess. Pacheco, Warren, or Eckler? I'd go Pacheco, but it's close. Yeah. Hampton or Kenneth Walker is a better player. Ridley, Golden, or Wilson at flex. What, Garrett Wilson? What Wilson are we talking about? If it's Garrett, I would say yes, go Garrett Wilson. But if it's some other Wilson, like no. I'd go Garrett Wilson though. Pearsall or Waddle? I would go Pearsall. Waddle is just a huge upside guy, but he's cryptocurrency. He's like Devontae Smith. 20 fantasy points one game, 10 the next. Dak, CD, and AJ Brown sold me last night. They did, dude. Yeah, I mean, shit, that's a brutal trio to have. Purdy or May? I would go Purdy this week. I'd lean Purdy. Did I mistake drafting Bowers over Chase Brown? No, I think both are great, dude. I think it's a great, either way, it's a great pick. I would have taken Chase Brown just because I can get like a George Kittle in round 3 or Tyler Warren or Tucker Kraft later, but still. We have one from YouTube here. 10-man league. Your running backs are Amarian, Bucky, Judkins, Sampson, Woody, Brian Robinson. Should you trade for a more competent running back? I think your RB core is fine, honestly. I mean, Judkins, Sampson, and B-Rob are great. B-Rob might be starting this weekend. Keep an eye on that. But I think you have to start Amari on Hampton tonight. You obviously have to start Bucky Irving. And if CMC doesn't play, you start Brian Robinson at flex. If not, you sit the other guys for this week. Love or May? I would go Drake May this week. Trade Bucky and Pacheco for Gibbs? No, absolutely not. Keep Bucky and Pacheco. I like Gibbs, but I would keep Bucky and Pacheco. That's too much of a haul to give up for him. Unless you have a running back you could slot in and you're fine giving away a second-round pick and a 5th or 6th round pick for Gibbs, who, by the way, was the RB1. I mean, he does technically have the curse. It wasn't Saquon. Saquon has the touch leader curse. He doesn't have the RB1 curse. Saquon didn't play week 18. We still count week 18 as fantasy football. Like in an analysis, we have to count it. Therefore, Gibbs was the RB1 on the season in PPR leagues last year. So I don't know, but I mean, I love Gibbs. I don't think it's going to hinder him that much. Ricky Pearsall over Pacheco, y'all. Golden or Tyreek? Tyreek. I think both ball out though. Warren or Diggs? I would go Warren. Barely though. Hampton or Igbuka? I'd lean Igbuka. I think there's more upside. I like Hampton tonight though. Thoughts on Hurts? I love Hurts. I mean, I had Hurts as my quarterback 3, and it was barely behind Jackson and Allen. Like, I had him way above Jane Daniels. A lot of people had Jane Daniels ahead of Hurts. Hurts' rushing upside is fantastic. It's elite. By the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure you follow me here on TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok as well. Sub on YouTube if you don't already. A lot of great long-form content. And this will all be up on YouTube after as well. And on X, I'd appreciate it. I love you guys, regardless whether I get hate comments or love comments, like people liking what I say, hating what I say. I still appreciate your support. I love discourse. I'm not trying to say I'm right on everything. I run metrics. I know the game, and I just try and make the best advice and opinions on this. Should you drop Sampson? No, I'd keep him, bro. Kenneth Walker's your RB2 with Charbonnet handcuff. Also have Bill and Jordan Mason on your bench. Do you trade Bucky and Pacheco for Gibbs? Got you, Rihi. So you can got it. So that's the whole situation. So yeah, I would do it then, dude. I think Gibbs is an upgrade over Bucky. Thoughts on Ken Walker? Love Ken Walker. As you can see, Rihi has Ken Walker as his RB2. I love Ken Walker in fantasy this year, especially if he stays healthy. But you got to have the Charbonnet handcuff. Who's my quarterback? And dude, I have 7 leagues. My quarterback in 4 of them is Brock Purdy. I have CJ Stroud as one of them, Caleb Williams in another, and then I have Lamar Jackson in one. I didn't get Allen in any of them. I didn't want to take Burrow or Daniels like third, fourth round. I typically have Kittle in 3 of those leagues, or somebody like Chase Brown or Hampton. Yeah, I can tell you guys some of the lineups I have tonight. Let's see. This is what I'm running tonight and who I'm starting. I'll keep answering your guys' questions because I know we have 10 minutes? Is the game starting 10 minutes? Let's see. My teams. Let's look. All right, so I am starting. Who should you? Let's see. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Brock Purdy, yeah, okay. That's on a few of them. Let's see. I'm looking at. Sorry, it's like 3 different websites, yo. So it's like Yahoo. I have 3 teams. Like Sleeper, I have 2, and ESPN, I have a few. Hampton, Ricky Pearsall. Ricky Pearsall. I like both, but I like Ricky Pearsall more this week. Especially if Christian misses the game, then it's like a completely next level thing. Let me get to some of these comments. So while I'm looking for the team, Ken Walker or Hampton, I would go Ken Walker. I like both, but I like Ken Walker's upside far more. Pearsall, Igbuka, Walker, pick 2, Walker and Pearsall. I like Igbuka a lot though, but I slightly lean Pearsall. Yeah, so one league I have Brock Purdy. I have Brock Purdy there as my quarterback. Let's look at the other league. Lamar Jackson in the other league. That league has a lot of upside. I have Jackson, Neighbors, Tyreek Hill, Ashton Genty. Whew, that's a crazy league. Fucking love that league. But yeah, I would go Ricky Pearsall for sure. There, I'm looking at the other leagues that I have. I have Lamar Jackson. Let's go to the sleeper ones. Let's see. Ridley or Golden? I'd go Golden. Ridley has a brutal matchup with Pat Surtain. Kenneth Walker. There you go. I saw your comment now, bro. Kenneth Walker, Jerome Ford, Henderson, pick 2. Jerome Ford, Kenneth Walker. I love Trevion Henderson. Jerome Ford is the easiest matchup of the week. Ken Walker is Ken Walker. Henderson is going to, sacrifice some touches to Ramondre Stevenson for at least for the first few weeks. Pearsall, Harvey, or Rome at the flex. Rome is all upside. Harvey's all upside. Pearsall, I feel like, is going to be a consistent 5 or 6 catches for 60 plus yards. And at minimum, that's like 12 fantasy points. And I think he has upside. So I do like Ricky Pearsall a lot this week. And that'll be in my sit start videos tomorrow. No problem, bro. In my sit start videos tomorrow when I talk about the entire weekend's matchup. I'm also going to be doing my season long predictions this year. And we'll see. Let's see. So again, my team here. Okay, can we go to my actual team? Okay, so I have Brock Purdy in the one league I told you about. I have Brock Purdy in that league too. CJ Stroud in this other league with Nico, because I have Nico Collins. To answer the question of who are my quarterbacks in my league. Let's see. Yep. CJ Stroud, and who's my backup? Caleb Williams in that league. Okay. I have a ton of leagues. Then I have Brock Purdy in this league. Lamar Jackson in another league. Justin Fields in one league. I like Justin Fields because I have Garrett Wilson and I have a star-studded team. So for me, that's kind of how it went there. But yeah. Thoughts on Devontae Adams? Yeah, I love Devontae this week. I think Devontae cooks against Houston. I know they're pretty good secondary. If they're focused on Puka, Devontae will go off. If they focus on Devontae, Puka will go off. It's kind of like that's the reason the Rams got him. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Just going through my starting lineups as well, making sure everything is set as well. Let's see. Yeah. I had Javonte on the bench on one. Got to live with it. It's life. That's life, guys. That is life. I'm starting Amari and Hampton in a few leagues tonight. So I am hoping that the upside is more vast than I personally think. I think the floor is high. Like I mentioned, I think he gets between 10 and 15 fantasy points. But again, I'm not the judge of that. I don't think that he gets 20 plus by any means. So let's look at oh God, I'm not starting Ridley, bro. No fucking chance. Do I have to? Shit, I have to start Ridley in a league, guys. Pray for me against Pat Surtain. But yeah, I do have Amari and Hampton starting tonight, so I'm hoping he does pretty well. And yeah, let's see. What about the other leagues? Let's look at the ESPN leagues last. What What are your thoughts on both CMC and Achane? Draft on both. Look, you have the all upside team. If they stay healthy, you win your league. If they don't, which is a high chance, you lose your league. That's kind of how it goes. I don't mind you taking the risk, honestly. People are going to cook you for that, but I don't mind you taking the risk. Honest thoughts on CMC. I'm very concerned. Yeah. Starting Worthy over Harrison. This will be a shootout. I don't hate it. Yeah. Do you like Hampton or Jennings? Hampton this week, but both aren't substantial in terms of upside this week. Let's see. Just making sure my teams are good too. Yeah, I'm starting Hampton in multiple leagues tonight. Got to. I mean, you have to start him. I think that's kind of how it goes. Going to see how it goes. Hopefully he balls out. But yeah. Yeah, so that's that league. I'm just making sure I have all my guys ready to go. Yeah, well. All righty, but let's see. What are we? 5 minutes away? 4 minutes away? It's on YouTube TV, right? So live game. When is this game on? Am I tripping? It's on in 5 minutes, right? I'll answer your guys' questions if that's the case. Yeah, it's on in 5 minutes. Yep, 5 p.m. All right, Njoku or Kelsey? I would go Kelsey, but it's close. I think both are solid starts this week. I mean, Njoku has a great matchup against Cincinnati. Flacco targeted him a bunch when they played. Pollard, Etienne, or Dobbins? I would go personally Pollard, but between those three, I don't think any of them are awesome guys right there, though. Stroud, Tua, Caleb. Your best player is Nico. I would go. Your best player is Nico. Then go Stroud because you want that stack just in case Nico goes crazy. I think you got to value the upside. I like stacks a lot, honestly. Money is fine too. Money's great too, but I'm talking about stacks in fantasy football. Again, if you guys haven't already, I'm going to be doing lives every single day. I'm not at work today. I'm not working, so I have off. So again, follow me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube, follow me on X, Instagram, all that shit. I appreciate you guys so much. Whether you love my takes, hate my takes, I still appreciate you guys. Hampton or Jennings? I like Hampton, bro. Yeah. If people are high on DK or Dak, Stroud is being extremely undervalued, to be honest. He started using his legs in the playoffs. I hope so, bro. I hope you're right because I think he needs to use his legs, especially with that offensive line. Would you flex Jerome Ford over Sutton? I would. I think Ford has a great matchup, though I would play both personally. I think they both have solid matchups. Pearsall, Ridley, Waddle at flex. I would go Pearsall. Stroud, okay, yeah. Herbert or Fields? I'd go Fields. Sounds crazy. I have Fields valued higher this week than Justin Herbert. I think the rushing upside is so vast, even against the Steelers. I could see a complete 20 fantasy point game just on his legs alone. Let's see. Should you stack Russell and Neighbors or start Caleb? Start Caleb. Don't stack Russell Wilson and Neighbors. I only like stacks if they're like Stroud, Nico, or I don't even like Stafford, Nakua. I would start Nakua and somebody else. You know what I mean? Hampton or Warren? I'd lean Hampton, though, Josh, I'm not super confident about Amari and Hampton tonight, but I'm also incredibly concerned with Jaylen Warren and the brutal matchup against New York. I think volume's king. I can rely on the volume more for Amari and Hampton and hope he gets a touchdown. So I guess we're starting Amari and Hampton tonight and just praying. RJ Harvey, Ridley, or Pearsall? I'd go Pearsall. I'd like Harvey. I would make sure to really sit Ridley. That's a given, in my opinion, this week. Igbuka or McConkey, I think you got to start Ladd. I mean, Ladd's a must start. He's your second round pick. I don't think he'll have as great of a matchup as people think, but Ibuka's a wide receiver too. I'd rather go with the wide receiver one, even if he has an easier matchup or harder matchup, rather. T-Mac or Pacheco and flex? McMillan. McMillan's going to get a plethora of targets. Pacheco could go off, but McMillan's upside is so much more vast, regardless of what happens tonight. We got 2 minutes here, y'all. Make sure you're following me for more of this last minute sit start suggestions and my other content, fantasy analysis, all that stuff. I love all of you guys. So we got 2 minutes. I'll answer your question, but make sure you support me as well. I appreciate you guys, whether you love me or hate me. Ford or Ridley? Ford. Tetaroa, Sutton, Igbuka, Kamara, start 3. I would go McMillan, Kamara, and Sutton, even though I love Igbuka. McCaffrey or Swift? McCaffrey plays McCaffrey, but I'm not going to worry about that until this week. You traded CMC for Walker and Henderson. That's not bad, honestly, just in case he gets hurt. But even if he doesn't, I think you get two elite running backs for an elite guy, tier 1 player. So yeah, let's see, Hampton or Igbuka. I would lean Igbuka, honestly, but it's close. I like both. I like Hampton a lot. I think Igbuka's upside is a little bit higher. Survivor pick. Okay, what is the survivor pick? Pacheco or Flowers? I would go. I'd lean. I'd probably lean Pacheco, but it's very close. I'm not super high on Pacheco tonight. Scary Terry, Sutton, Olave, or Golden at flex. I would go. That's a tough one. Scary Terry. Yeah. Anyways, y'all, good luck. I know it's 5, so we're going to get going now, but I appreciate you. Follow me for more. I love all you guys, regardless whether you hate me or love me. Please support me. Please follow me. I love you guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Enjoy the matchup.